Welcome everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Rainer and this is Rainier Books. I'm a German who's living in Stockholm, Sweden and doing this in English. Today it's Tuesday, it's Tag Tuesday. I have been tagged for the tag about tags by Jim, but I thought that I really couldn't give the appropriate answers that I wanted to give and to make it somehow entertaining and interesting for you. So I skipped that one, I'm sorry, and I crossed over to the What tag that's circling around on BookTube right now. The What tag by Mark from Booktime with Elvis, a fairly new channel, and this is a great tag, and I'm going to do the What tag today, although I haven't been tagged yet. Let's get started. The first question is, what is the oldest book you own? And of course, the question is, are you looking for the oldest edition of a book, the oldest book that I might have bought like in the 1980s or 90s or the 2000s, or are you looking for really the oldest work? And I decided for the latter one, so I go for this one. I think this might be the oldest book that I own. It was a feature peculiar to the colonial wars of North America that the toils and dangers of the wilderness were to be encountered before the adverse hosts could meet. Who does know what I'm talking about, what I was reading from? Yeah, okay. This is The Last of the Mohicans by James Fenimore Cooper, and this might be the oldest book in my possession. I read it as an ebook. It's an ebook already. Cooper never dreamed of ebooks when he lived. This is from 1800, but the text is from 1826, and it's probably the oldest book that I own. What is the most sentimentally valuable book you own? Oh my gosh, that's a difficult question. I would go for another ebook, because I read this as a book from a library. Or I had the pocket edition many years ago, and I would say that I was pretty young when I read this, and it contributed of making me a reader. It's, I think, from 1860. I would go for Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Because when I read this, I was still in a coming of age myself, and this has a different impact on you when you read it in that age, because when you see that Pip grows up, and how he's growing up. It's a Bildungsroman, as we say in German. It's a German term that you probably know. This is also ranked as one of the greatest novels and stories of all times. It's the story of Pip and his coming of age and his love to Estella. And do you know that there's a song actually about this novel? And I like to sing sometimes. Mary, I worried and stalled every night of my life. Better safe than making the party. And I never had a good time. I sat by my bedside with papers and poetry about Estella. Great expectations. We had the greatest expectations. I saw taillights last night in a dream about my first wife. Everybody leaves and I'd expect as much from you. I saw taillights last night in a dream about my old life. Everybody leaves, so why wouldn't you? The band was called the Gaslight Anthem, and I think they don't exist anymore. The original singer is Brian Fallon, and he's actually singing about Great Expectations by Charles Dickens and about Estella, of course. Yeah. Okay. It's a beautiful song. I love that. And it's a beautiful novel. I loved the novel. So, what was the last book you gave someone as a gift? I don't give away books that often, and so the last book that I gave away as a gift was the book that I last gave away as a gift was one of the best books that I read in 2020 that I wish would have a lot more readers, and this is Vanessa Veselka's novel, The Great Offshore, grounds about the life of two sisters and their hunt their quest for a better life on the sea and on the land in the United States. The Great Offshore Grounds by Vanessa. Veselka was that last book. Which book has given you a sleepless night? Many books give me a sleepless night, my friends, because when I get dragged into a book, you know that feeling when you're getting dragged into a book and you want to read like 50 or 60 pages, but you just can't stop. And it's 1 o'clock, it's 1:30, it's 2 o'clock, you have to work tomorrow. And my gosh, then it's 3 o'clock and 3:30. And the last time that happened was last weekend, I think on Sunday night, actually, yes, when I finished Tana Frencg's novel, The Searcher. I read it until 3 in the morning. I couldn't finish it actually because I was too tired and fell asleep. Not here on my desk, but almost. And then I read the last like 20 or 30 pages the day after. But books keep me awake very often, and I'm a night reader. I'm a night crawler. So, what 3 literary characters would you most like to have dinner with, and why? Oh, help me if you can. I'm feeling down. I'm not feeling down, but it's really difficult. It has to be something very intellectual. It has to be diverse, right? Oh my God, 2 white guys. It's impossible. I have to pick something current because it's too stressing for me to think of all the characters that I've ever met in books that I've read. You take something from last year. No, once again, cut. We take Vera Violet from Melissa Ann Peterson's novel, this young woman. We take the lady from, what's her name, from Dominicana by Angie Cruz. This young Dominican woman coming to the United States. And then we have to have a guy, right? No, I actually chose the woman from Kylie Reid's debut novel, Such a Fun Age. So I have a ladies' night with 3 ladies and 3 pretty much different kinds of characters. That could be an interesting thing. And we do other evenings with other characters after this, okay? What book would you most like to live in for a year? What book would you most like to live in for a year? I'll make it easy. I'll make this very easy. I would like to live a year in a travel guide for about Japan. No, I would like to live in a travel guide about the Pacific coast of the United States and Canada. A travel guide that deals with Oregon and Washington State and the province of British Columbia. That's where I want to be for a year. And write some stories while exploring and making videos for you. What deceased author would you like to have resurrected and why? Oh my God, I would resurrect them all, of course. But who would I resurrect? I would probably resurrect the authors that made me when I was a reader and I returned to the thriller genre a little bit by naming people like Eric Ambler, Raymond Chandler, and Ross MacDonald, who wrote great stories. I would love to see them write one of their books in our time. Eric Ambler. I would like to meet, and I would wonder what kind of stories he would write today, what kind of novels in our time. What book turned out to be the biggest surprise for you? Something where you expect something bad or not good, but then it really is a good surprise. I have to go to nonfiction because I think nonfiction surprises me more than fiction very often because I learn so much different things in nonfiction. Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid surprised me in a way that because I got it as an audiobook, and an audiobook is very much different from a written book. And this really surprised me because it was such a great audiobook, maybe the best that I've heard yet, because they made a play out of it. They let all the characters being read, and they let all the characters were read by different actors, and this was really a great experience to listen to that. That was a surprise success story for me, how they produced that great audiobook. What book that has already been published do you wish you had written? I wish I would have written hundreds of books. I wish I would have written the Harry Bosch series. I wish I would have written the Joe Nesbo series, because I would be. I wish I would have written the Border series by Don Winslow. I wish I would have written all of Ernest Hemingway's novels, Mark Twain's work, Goethe's work, and Shakespeare's work. And I would be the greatest writer of all times if I had done all that. No, but I think we all have to write our own books. You know, you can't wish for someone else's book, for someone else's work. I would like to be like him. You have to be yourself, and you have to find your own voice. So if you're a writer or a reader or a reviewer, very rarely people are all of that, and I have written many years ago. I might write at a later point in life again. No, I wouldn't say that there's a special book that I would have loved to have written myself. A very good thriller that sells a couple of million copies. Yeah, it makes you independent and enables you to buy all the books that you want to have, and a great house and at the California coast, and another one in Tuscany in Italy, and an apartment in Paris. Oh my God, I'm so materialistic. We cut that. What book has had the most influence or impact on your life so far? I wouldn't say that there's one book, but there are a couple of books. There are a lot of books that always leave their marks on you, on me, and the traces in my life. The last book that definitely has, again, put another stone in the mosaic of my thinking is Cast by Isabel Wilkerson, which actually added nothing new, but in the sum of how she did this, really made clear how we as white persons should never ever should always listen to when people of color tell us that there's racism, and that we should never ever, like now in the British royal family, you know, when William says about Harry and his wife Meghan that there's no racism in the British family. Never say things like that. When somebody tells you there is racism, a person of color tells you that, you should never ever do that. And that's got stronger and stronger for me, this thinking, even by reading Isabel Wilkerson and all the examples that people have to share with us. And so many other things, authors who tell us about the poor sides, how life can be, how life could have been if you had been so unlucky to grow up in a very difficult socio-economic relation, or in another skin, or in another country, or where you don't have the right to say what you want to say, and where you don't have the right to sort of utter your opinion, where you get arrested for doing videos like this. It's all these books, and they contribute to building a large picture, but there's not the one Bible-like book for me that is sort of the key to everything that I am. And that was the what tag, and all I had to say to this tag. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please leave a subscription here on this channel, like the video, and tell other people that it's worthwhile visiting this tremendous channel. I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. But please, thank you very much for watching this. I see you on Thursday with another bookish video. I love you. I really do. I love BookTube. So I love you all, and I'm very grateful to be here and to have all these discussions with you. So see you very soon. Bye-bye.